Welcome everyone to this late edition of Be My Guest. Nicknamed the Flying Finn, he has a very remarkable and bold way of driving. In 28 years of competition, he achieved 65 victories, among them the 1981 World Rally Championship and the Dakar in 1987, 89, 90, and 91. I am both blessed and thrilled to host tonight a rally god and living legend, Ari VATANEN. Welcome, Ari. Thank you for being with us tonight. So, Ari.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Steph. But you made me feel very old when you say living legend. I don't know if the legends are living. I mean, they are dead already, the legends, the real ones.
There are some living legends and you're part of them.
Oh dear, I'm touched.
Ari, well, we're going to talk about your career, of course. And I wonder, and I'm not the only one, how it all started. Have you always liked cars and especially competition?
It would take us a half an hour to go through the beginning of my career. Well, I try to get the long story short. Normally, people have a strong influence around them for whatever passion they may have in life, and I had everything opposite. So I was born in the eastern part of Finland, near Russian border, and my father died in a car accident in our first brand new car, 1960. I was 8 years of age, and we were the entire family, my two sisters, my brother, my mom, all six of us. And then, so I saw my father die against the steering wheel. And the rest of the family, we got away with very minor injuries. And then we had no father, no car. And then 4 years later, when I was 12 years of age, my mother got us a little Opel Kadett, got a driving license. And at the very first summer, 64, the rally came for the first time ever to my little home village, Tupovara. It came 2 o'clock in the morning. And now you must try to imagine what the 2 o'clock in the morning in the middle of June means in Finland. We nearly have a daylight at that time. It's incredible light, that really mystic light. And the first car came 2 o'clock in the morning. I was sitting there 4 hours prior to it. I was not going to miss the rally now in my life. And when the first car came, kicking up the dust in that Finnish summer night between the birch trees, and drum brakes were red hot. Well, I'm sure this little orphan boy, my body stayed on that bank and on the roadside, but my mind, my spirit went with the car. And the rest of my story, you know it already.
How old were you at the time? 12?
12.
12. And on that night, not that day, but on that night, you decided you would do some competition?
No, you don't decide. No. You don't decide. When you are overwhelmed by passion, you are dealing with something which is much greater and stronger than what you are. You have one thing in your mind, and was for me to learn to drive a motor car, to drive it sideways. And since we had that new car, little Opel Kadett, on our little road, which had 150 meters long with one corner in it, I started, driving immediately to see how it goes sideways and can I handle it at the speed of 30, 40 kilometers an hour at best. And of course, my mother was horrified, having lost her husband 4 years earlier. And so she said to me that isn't one person from our family enough? And well, very soon she saw that nothing would, put that fire down, which was inside me. Because when you have dreams and passion and fire inside you, it's not rational, it's not pragmatic, it's your life, it's your dreams, it's you, what you as a human being. And it's stronger than any logic, it's stronger than what your neighbors say, it's stronger than often it will cost you more than you have money, but that doesn't matter because it's your life. And then I just followed that passion just to learn to drive, to learn to brake late, throw the car sideways, and try to handle it somehow, try to survive a corner. And that's what it is. Of course, competition comes later on into photo, but when it comes down to driving, that you brake too late, you swing the car around, and you hope for the best, and you are in a way nearly like a passenger yourself in that car. You are detached from any rational thinking. You are detached from ordinary life. You are in your bubble, and we all have a right to be whatever our bubbles are in life. That has been my bubble, and the whatever has happened to my life afterwards has obviously been more or less geared around my passion and stems from it as a result of it. But always when I go back, it's not that I wanted to be a world champion, because that would have been crazy. I mean, totally unrealistic. All I wanted to do, drive a car, like somebody takes a violin and wants to play well. That's all what matters. If he or she becomes a world-known, musician later on, well, that's another thing. But still, the starting point and the end point is the pure pleasure playing a violin or driving a motor car fast gives you.
Okay, you learn how to drive a car, and but where did you learn how to fly a car?
That comes. That particular photo, I think, must have been, given how close the crowds were on either side. Must have been in that. I'm sure it's in Portugal or in San Remo, and well, that comes automatically. When you go fast enough over the jump, I mean, it will fly. And one thing is sure is that you will land. Whether you will land well or not, that remains to be seen. But no, it's once I jumped when I was in Paris Dakar testing in L'Arbre de Tenerife. You know where that is, in the middle of Tenerife. I flew nearly 70 meters on the flat ground, but yeah, okay, it's part of, well, all my drive. Even when I'm on the ground, I think I'm flying with my wings. Symbolically or spiritually, maybe.
So did you take your mom fly on the roads, over the roads?
Actually, well, I had to, because right in the beginning, I didn't have a driving license, because I was so I needed her to take me to an ice circuit, which was on the other side of the village, and but she had no nerve to stay with me in a car. So I realized that in the Finnish winter time, it's dark, can be -20. So I remember I just kept on driving that ice circuit, where you can drive without a license, and she was to keep herself warm at the -20. I mean, she was jumping up and down, and I just kept on driving. And that poor mom, I wonder what went through her mind at that time when she saw that teenage boy driving, just driving and driving and going sideways, and she was there, on the side of the circuit, jumping up and down to keep herself warm.
So as soon as you had your driver's license, you started competition, right?
Basically, yes, and with, of course, with the second hand or third hand rally car, and I was the first few rallies. I mean, I could not believe how fast the other drivers were driving, and it was I thought it's incredible how fast they drive. I will never become very good, and then well, slowly over the years, I never thought that maybe my car isn't good enough. I just kept on driving. I just kept on driving on my own from Saturday evening till Sunday morning. I had 20-liter jerry can with me, and just alone in the Finnish winter roads, and then little by little. But then finally, when I got a little bit better rally car and I managed to get some results, I always thought it's not because I'm good. I thought it's just because I happen to know the road better than other people knew. So it took me really a while to realize that actually I can drive a bit, but the start was not easy.
So you debuted in 1974 at the 1000 Lakes Rally, and
Yeah.
how did you do on that day?
Well, the 1000 Lakes in Finland obviously is it's a big event, and for me already to be at the start line was something amazing. And we had just a couple of friends were servicing, few extra tires, not many spare parts, and during the first night, because you start on Friday evening and you come back to Jyväskylä on Saturday morning, and I had no idea where we lie. And Saturday morning I came back to the hotel, and I saw my name. I was 10th or 11th, I think. I could not believe how high I was. I said, "Come on!" I mean, I was really surprised myself, and then I said to myself, well, obviously I must have learned, but I was so really surprised myself. So rallying is something or motorsport that it keeps you humble. I mean, you may have maybe some good performances, but then you make a big mistake, and you destroy your car, you destroy your budget, and you don't see the way out of it. Whereas any other sport, okay, next race I can run again, but not in a motorsport. So the motorsport has, the highs are very high and the lows are very low. So it's a kind of a roller coaster drive, and that's what my life and driving has been, always.
So you had a really high in 1981 when you won the World Rally Championship.
Yeah. Well, yes, it became somewhat in a way too early, because it took me. I started driving professionally in '76. It was a big lucky break for me, but Ford was looking for a young driver to succeed the famous Timo Mäkinen, and then my first victory in the World Championship came in Acropolis Rally, the one the picture is from. That was 1980. And so I had only one round in the World Championship, and then following year '81, I managed to win the championship. So in a way, I was really surprised myself. Am I world champion now? What is going on? and it felt, am I est-ce que je suis digne? Can I carry the weight of being a world champion? Do I have the shoulders? Am I worth it? Really, I had questions like this, and of course and to remind us, since you come from Steph from France, I mean the number 2 guy was Guy Fregelin, and he was leading prior to the last event, and his co-driver was certain Monsieur Jean Todt.
Monsieur Jean Todt.
So Jean Todt, he became vice-champion. Je suis devenu le champion.
And how did your mom react to that victory in 1981?
Well, by that time, I suppose she had accepted that. That's of course that's my life, and so once she got over that initial fear. But of course, when for your dear ones, whether it's your mom or later on my wife, of course, the telephone calls can be drastic. Like later on, I very nearly died in Argentina, and motorsport.
1985, yes.
That's right. So motorsport, people forget, it's not like any other sport. It's you make a very little mistake, and I used the expression that you like steal a banana and you get hanged for it. And you make a little mistake in the wrong place, and you can destroy your car, but you can even destroy yourself or your co-driver, and with very serious consequences. But that's what life is all about. That's part of life. We have to accept it, and we have to accept the people who accept this kind of risk, because our definition of risk is different. And anyway, in life, we can't have any progress unless we have risks. And we are entitled to our dreams. Everybody has got. You have got your dreams. I have mine, and we cannot say that somebody else has wrong kind of dreams. They are unique to you, and that's what makes life so beautiful. That we have this so many different kind of flowers are flowering in the sea of flowers. So that's what life is all about.
Frédéric Stammer is saying, you made me dream years ago, memories from the Dakar and Pikes Peak. You're a legend. And I was mentioning your very unique way of driving. just looking at the car, we could know it was you. And I still have in memory all those flying cars as well. So what goes in your mind when you're driving your car in competition? What are you thinking of? Well, of course, you concentrate on the roads, but you have a very bold way of driving. It's like you couldn't die.
No, Steph, no, you're very valid. You question très pertinent. And because, you know, I think the driving style it's like handwriting. I cannot write. When I write, my writing is very large. Maybe it means I have a big head. I don't know. I don't think I have a big
I
head.
don't think so,
but,
no.
but my writing is very large. If I have to write, normal A4 size paper, I fill it with a few lines. That's it. That's my driving style, writing style, because writing style is extension of your character, extension of your what makes you tick in life, and my driving style is the same. So as I said in the beginning, pure pleasure of breaking late into a corner, and that thrill of surviving the corner, and sometimes you don't survive it. It is just beyond what you can explain. So let's say that had I been more rational or more professional kind of approach, I think I would have won many more rallies. But I went it always, it was nearly all or nothing, and very often the result was nothing. So I may have thrown very many victories out of the window, but as a human being, I think I have had very many more, much more enriching life, only because my setbacks. Because if you go from one victory to another victory, I think we human beings, we can't handle victories and success very well if we have it all the time. We need setbacks. We need the lessons of humility. We need to come back to the ground and realize how fragile everything is in life, because we don't appreciate life if we think that we dominate everything, we dictate everything. No, we don't. No, we don't. Man, after all, you can have whatever success. Look at what happened to Michael Schumacher. I mean, if you wrote the script for life, you would say that that's not realistic, that you win 7 or whatever number of world championships, and then you fall, you know, a few meters from your villa in Meribel and on a place you know very well, and that's it. Yet in real life, that happens. So that was my driving style also, just you know, enjoying it to the maximum. Yeah.
You told me earlier that you are an artist.
Yeah, that
so
is true.
Are you an artist on the road as well?
Not on every day, because I'm no, not on every day. I mean, I may get carried. Obviously, when I was young, I got carried away, and I'm not very proud of that. But that was part of the when you are young and you need to try every single corner, even sometimes on a public road. But I never had accident with anybody else. So touch wood. I still can have it today, but I try not to have. And but I'm artist in a way that if I was painting paintings, if I was an artist, I'm sure some of the paint would not remain inside the frame. You know, some of the paint would go outside on outside wall. That's what my driving was like. And I'm sure that although I was lucky enough to win quite a few events, but also I made some really stupid mistakes because I was, you know, carried away. That's an English expression. The passion took over my rational side. J'étais emporté par la passion. Simplement, c'est tout. And that can be seen in my driving style. But as a result, okay, it has given some headaches for my wife, for my family. But c'est la vie. I can't change. That's my writing style. That's my driving style.
So then you won many times with Peugeot and the last year with Citroën, the Dakar. So what is your best memory of the Dakar Rally, the Paris-Dakar?
Many, 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 many lasting and striking memories. Of course, the victories play a big part, but for me, the biggest victory was in a way because 1985, when I very nearly died in Argentina, and I had a year and a half very painful convalescence, and then against all my expectations, I found myself at the 1987 Paris-Dakar starting line at the Trocadero, and I had to pinch myself to realize, well, that's me, and my life has restarted, and it was really come back to a life or the start of life number two, and then with Bernard Giroux, who was at that time TF1 reporter, he was my co-driver, and well, we finally managed to win that event. But what? So that was like a bonus. But the biggest moment was the start line. That yes, I'm living again. I'm back in that life, which is my life. Because in the meantime, I had thought that's all finished. That's all finished, and yet it was not. And but then what I learned in Dakar was obviously the human side, where people. When I went to Timbuktu, I said to myself, when I saw a little boy in Timbuktu with his T-shirt and many holes in it and no shoes, I mean, and I saw, what about if I was born in that part of the world? And it made me to realize that what the human family concept is. None of us have chosen the place where we're born. We have not chosen our parents, and what happens in Timbuktu, it concerns us also because everybody in a human family deserves to have a hope, and in our own context, so that little boy in Timbuktu, he also deserves to have a hope that his life tomorrow is slightly better than today, and that's not definitely necessarily the case today. There are lots of places in the face of the earth who people don't have very much hope. So that side, when I was late on in the political life, it was very much let's say guiding my thinking and my decisions, that we cannot just think about those people who vote for us, but we have to see the bigger picture in life. So Dakar helped me a lot to at least to a certain manner to understand what the humanity means.
So you mentioned your political life, and that started in 1999 until 2009. So you engaged yourself in politics and became a member of the European Parliament. What motivated you to go into politics?
I've always been an idealistic person, and what can you do in your life if you want to do something which is greater than what you are? If you want to contribute to a greater cause, you have to either do something in a charity, in a caritative life, or you enter. You try to help other people, and of course the real place where you can try to help other people are politics, as strange as it may sound. But for me, the only option was the European level. I could never imagine that I would stand in a Finnish, in the national parliaments or assembly in France. It had to be in a European level, because it's just a mathematical fact that we are all stronger together than alone. And like they say, that we are bigger than when we are together, we are bigger than the sum of our parts. And and that's anyway, European Union, after all, it's only in the beginning was to make a peace, because peace has to be made every day. It's not something which will remain automatically, and we need far-sighted people who look far ahead and who realize that we have to another human being, even if he lives on the other side of the border, we see him human being like you and me, and the only way is to work together. So that's noble aspect of peacemaking was start of European Union, and it's very sad that the UK is departing from it. But anyway, that was the reason why I wanted to contribute in my little humble manner for a greater cause.
Right, that's great. I have a question from Frédéric, and he said that he was told that once you drove a special on the Tour de Corse with Alain Prost, and Alain Prost said he had never been so frightened in his life. Is that true?
I don't remember if Alain. I don't think Alain may have been with me on the Trofeo and Ross on the ice circuit, but I don't think. Maybe he has been driven by somebody else, but I'm sure. I'm sure.
He would have been scared for sure. I would have died.
He would have been scared with me. Well, that's for sure. Of course, and I would have been scared with him on a Formula One circuit. Yeah, but I prefer rally circuit where you are between the trees and you improvise and you go sideways and you have to improvise. Formula One is really tough. I mean, I have a really, really high respect for all those in Formula One, but the lifestyle, it's a Formula One circuit, hotel, and the nearest airport. Whereas we are sometimes in Dakar, we are in Timbuktu, we are in Monte Carlo, we are all over the world, amongst normal people. So it's totally different lifestyle.
So what kind of passenger are you? When somebody else drives.
No, I don't mind. I don't mind being a passenger. Steph, I could be your passenger if I see that you drive well. I can be passenger of the young girl who has just learned to drive if I can see that she stays within her limits. It's all about you that you stay within your limit and you don't try to prove yourself. And no, if the driver is sensible, I don't mind being a passenger.
Well, you and I have something in common. It's not the driving, unfortunately, but we don't drink champagne. Is that a legend, or do you really? Don't you really drink alcohol? Because we all remember your glass of milk when you celebrated your victory. Is that true, or is it just for the image?
No, I had a good contract. I had a good contract with Finnish milk company, and so obviously, but immediately in the evening, of course I will drink champagne or good red wine from Bordeaux. So even now, it happens even now when I'm in France. I'm in a restaurant and the people see me drinking red wine, and some strangers they come, oh, Monsieur Vatanen, vous ne buvez plus du lait. And I reply, yes, of course, I always drink milk, but it's just now red and it comes from Bordeaux. Le lait est devenu rouge et ça vient de Bordeaux.
So I'm quite disappointed. So we have nothing in common.
No, I'm sure we do, but not regarding that side. It's a pity that if you miss good French champagne, it's a pity.
So I have another question. How many Dakars did you compete in?
I think 14 times, and only in Africa. So it was incredible experience in my life, and I would always people say, what's the difference between normal rally and Dakar, and it was an extension of my rallying career. And had I not done Dakars and other African rallies, I mean, they are the rallies in the poorest part of the world. So as a human being, I don't know if I learned a lot as a driver, but as a human being, I learned a lot to meet other human beings.
So we mentioned your political career. You started a movie career as well, and in a French movie that was
Camping.
In 2006, Camping, yes, with Franck Dubosc. So how come did you end up in a movie?
Because I look so handsome, obviously.
Oh, sorry for the question.
Oh, of course, come on, Steph.
I don't mean to hurt your feelings.
No, the film director. Come on now. Sorry, I just forgot his name. No, I mean I was.
No, the réalisateur. Yes.
Exactement, lui.
I don't remember.
Exactly. No, he had this role for me, and In fact, my role would have been, in fact, a little bit bigger, but that was the filming started, the tournage started in August. Yes, exactly, Monsieur de Boss, and so started in August. But I didn't want to break up my Finnish summer holiday. I mean, and so you have seen the pictures what Finland is like in the summertime. So I only came to France in September. So my role was a little bit smaller. But anyway, I was really touched and honored to be there as myself in that film. It really touched me. And that film has been shown so many times now, the French TV. And I was very honored.
So you're a BMW ambassador. Do you drive
Exactly. You see my exactly.
Polo shirt. Yes, I do. And how long have you been a BMW ambassador, Ari?
It now maybe some 6-7 years now. Yes, and very proud of it. Yeah. In with all the due respect to French cars, but I mean, little by little you climb the ladder in life, and then you end up with BMW, of course.
And do you fly BMWs as well?
On a public road now, I stay on the road. I do stay. I have now currently I have an X4 with a 40D diesel engine, and I always have SUVs because I want to sit higher, a little bit higher, and they are safe and a big diesel engine. And I really, with all my experience when I drive from Nice to Grenoble, I enjoy it on a twisty mountain road. Still, that pure pleasure hasn't disappeared.
So on next Monday, this coming Monday, you're going to take part for the third time to the Touro de Mille. So this is, as I mentioned, the third time. So it's from the 21st of August until the 5th of September. You're heading to Marseille. So what is your best memory of the Touro of these past years?
No, it's as a whole, it's a very. I have the best, the creme de la creme in that. I don't drive a historic car. I always have a BMW M2, M3, M4, sometimes M5. So and then my role is to be there in the front. Exactly, you can see the route there. To be in the front to make sure that the organization is working and the crowd is not on the road, and so you get just an easy part of. I have no competition stress. You have a nice lunch in the chateau, dinners, and you're surrounded by, like they say in English, petrolheads, people who are passionate about cars. Because Tour Auto, it's a collection. It's like a moving Louvre of cars, a moving museum, and it reminds us what a fantastic role the cars have played in the history of mankind and in the development, and it reminds us what we have seen in our lives when we see a car, which was our first car, and it's really very nostalgic, and you see how people come out to see old cars because it reminds something from their younger days, and we all need to have that contact with our own memories, and that's such and such a car. I had my first girlfriend there, and I went to see the movie, and this was my first car, and so people are very nostalgic when they see old cars, and they also remind us how important the cars are. I mean, without cars, our societies would not function.
And how are you welcomed in the different places you cross during the Tour? I see some comments of people saying, "Oh, I will be looking out for you." Are people waiting for the Tour actually?
Well, I mean, that was a leading question. I mean, it's fantastic. All the villages and towns where we go and where we stop. I mean, just people come out and they welcome you, and they're so happy, and they're in a good mood and positive and smiling and cheering you up. So You are. They carry you. They carry you literally all the time. So no, I feel it's if
Oops, we lost you. No more sound. Hello. So
now we are back.
problem of-
Now we are back. Yes.
we are back. We are
So
back.
I feel like a king. I said I feel like a king when I'm in a Toronto. Yeah.
Well, that's really nice. So, do you drive the BMW, or are you a passenger? Of course, you drive.
In a rally, of course, in a rally, yes. I have these young influencers and mini influencers. I mean, you could be my co-driver in a rally in one day, and because
With
that's
great
what.
pleasure. If you
Yeah,
don't go off the road, I will.
yeah, exactly. So it's of course part of marketing exercise, and whereas in the older days it would be have a traditional journalist, now it's more, young bloggers who come with me and but it's I have easy. It's a fantastic week, a really week I'm looking forward to. I have no stress, just pleasure.
And are you a classic car collector yourself?
No, no, not no. I really do appreciate old cars, but I must say that I'm a little bit, how should I say, I driving wise, I prefer to have a modern car. It's so easy and so safe, and I admire old cars. I touch them, you know. But I prefer to drive a new modern car.
But what is your favorite classic?
Ay. Since, well, if I had one, I suppose I would have one, a classic car. Of course, you can't deny everybody admires old Italian cars, for example. Everybody. I'm more. Of course, from Britain, you could have well, the car has to look beautiful for me. So, of course, from Britain, you have a Aston Martin. That's a beautiful looking car. And when you come from to then further down to Italy, of course, Ferrari is Ferrari, and it's a name, the brand, which is very special brand. And you have a cars like Alfa Romeo. They have nice lines, maybe not very pragmatic car. And of course, I mean, even BMW has a very many old beautiful cars. But no, as I said, I will stick to new cars.
So that's interesting. You look at the lines, don't you look at the engine as well?
Well, of course, you would look at the engine, but I don't think if an ugly car would have a fantastic engine. No, it needs both. It needs, of course, good engine, so it's drivable, but it has to look beautiful. Because the beauty is timeless. Beauty is timeless, and whether it's designed, 6 years ago, if the lines are nice, they will remain nice because the beauty which only lasts for a little while, it's not real beauty.
Then and your son is competing now as well. He has followed you in that passion. So what was your first reaction when he told you he wanted to do some competition as well?
Well, he's not. Well, unfortunately for him, it's not. Yes, exactly. Max is there. Exactly. That's in my that video. The where this frame is from is really worth watching. I was so scared. I was so scared next to him, and I was still trying to pretend to be a proud father and brave father, and. But okay, he doesn't do rallies anymore because they're simply we have run out of money. It's such so expensive. But it's of course hard when your father has been a champion. It's very hard for your son to follow your footsteps, and there's a lot of additional pressure. And then I realized when I'm waiting for him at the end of the special stage, and if you don't hear his car coming, you ask, oh, where is he? What has happened to him? I hope he hasn't gone off the road. I hope he hasn't hit a tree. Then I realized the pressure your dear ones have when you are competing, and realized the pressure my wife has had when I was driving, And because as I said, sometimes when the telephone rang, the news were very good. So that pressure, you don't have that fear. You don't have any tennis or when you are running, but you are leading very, as I say, very meaningful life or very intense life. As I said, where the lows are low and where the highs are high.
So you mentioned, first of all, you have the bonjour de Surfer 94 qui vous dit que vous êtes un très grand champion. So you're a big champ for everyone. And so I don't know how old he is, but for me you are, and as well. And you mentioned modern cars you like better than classic cars, well, rather than classic cars. If you were not engaged with BMW, what other car would you like to drive or be an ambassador of?
Oh, that's very hard to say because you have to be pragmatic. BMW, I mean, everybody knows you have all normal cars, whether they are Opels or Peugeot or Renault, so-called normal cars. Then you have a category well above where still ordinary people can maybe able to buy. I mean, Mercedes, Audi, or BMW. And then, of course, then you have another category above it. You go to then, maybe even much more expensive cars. But in this category, I mean, without being false, BMW has that heritage in driving wise and from the competition. So of course, technically, Audi, Mercedes, they're same level, but BMW has something for those who appreciate driving, and it's like a good red wine. If you appreciate red wine, you know the chateau, whether it comes, this and this year, so that was a good year, and you know how to appreciate. And so I'm very happy with the BMW. It sincerely gives me that feeling when I drive every day.
And what do you think of electric cars?
Aye. We don't want to. We don't want to. Because I'm too honest. I'm too realistic, and I can count. I can count 2 + 2 + 2. Electric cars is very much a political result of the political decision making, because European Union obliges car manufacturers to make electric cars, but electric cars will have the role to play, but one day governments cannot subsidize electric cars. Consumer has to pay for everything, including the whole chain, all the way to dispose the batteries, which is very costly, and so forth. Anyway, all I'm saying that the thermal engine will have a very good future in front of it. Electric cars, of course, there are not very many of them at the moment, but the day when we have an electric engine in the cars, in the lorries, in the camionettes, in the buses, it's a very, very, very long way away. They will advance, but majority of people who pay for driving themselves, I mean, for a long time in front of us, majority will drive, thermal engines, which are getting better all the time. And anyway, so there's room for everything, but we must be realistic, and we have to always see who is going to pay for this.
Well, Ari, thanks a lot, and thank you for being with us tonight. It was really exciting to have you here, and great to hear you. And I know people enjoyed listening to you as well. I wish you a very good Touro next week.
Merci.
I will see you at the Grand Palais. And I have another question for you. What do you think of Sébastien Loeb?
As I've said it already, je suis convaincu qu'il n'est pas tout à fait 100% français, parce que pour quelqu'un qui va si vite comme Sébastien, je suis convaincu que son arrière-grand-père, c'est un Finlandais. Forcément, forcément.
So we're going to
Un franco-français ne peut pas aller si vite, c'est pas tout à fait. Alors, il doit avoir un peu de % finlandais quelque part.
So someone was asking what Ari thinks of Sebastian Loeb, and he answered that he must have some Finnish genes because it's impossible for a French to go that fast. No way.
I like him. I like him a lot. Like other Sebastian Ogier, both Loeb and Ogier. Fantastic.
Thanks a lot, Ari. Thank you, everyone, for watching on Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, and YouTube. And I will see you on Friday. Thanks. Merci, Ari.
Very good. Merci bien. Merci, Steph. Okay. Salut.
Bye.
Bye bye.